Ready for a deep dive that's more than just looking at pretty pictures.
Definitely.
We're going deep into the world of artist Russell McKane and his distilled art.
And we're going to figure out what makes his landscape so real, you can practically smell the eucalyptus.
Right, like you're right there in the Australian wilderness.
Right.
But also, how does he do it?
Yeah, we'll unpack that. It's about more than just what you see on the surface.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we're lucky enough to be working directly with McKane's own words from his website. I'm so excited to really dig into this concept of distilled artistic vision. It's fascinating.
Oh, absolutely. He compares it to aging fine wine.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more about that.
Both art and wine, they need time to reach their full potential.
Right.
You can't rush either process.
He actually says, and I'm quoting here from his site, great art isn't just about an artist's talent. It is about distilled artistic vision harvested with the passing of time like a good wine. So it's like more than technical skill.
Yeah, and he's building on years of experience.
Right.
Think about how a vineyard's location, the soil, the climate, everything impacts the wine, right?
Right.
McKane's doing something similar with his art. He's capturing the essence of his experiences. It's all those years of observing and feeling and his own artistic journey all blended into each piece.
Wow, so he's distilling a lifetime into his art.
No.
I love how he talks about his work as a dialogue with the environment. It's like those trees and rivers are speaking to him.
Right. He even talks about how he is listening as living organisms include you in their lives and relationships. Super interesting.
And almost spiritual.
Definitely. It's about a deep connection with nature. And I think he wants you to feel that same connection when you look at his paintings.
Okay, before we get ahead of ourselves, I want to read something else from his website just to really set the scene. He talks about wanting to sit under the tree, legs dangling, overlooking the vista, or being enclosed in a fern-rich rainforest, listening to the chatter of small birds and the sound of the flowing creek.
See, he's transporting you there.
I know, right? It's so evocative. I can practically smell the eucalyptus just hearing those words.
It's amazing how he does that, right? Just his words create this sense of place.
Totally.
And it ties directly into what one of his clients said. Owning one of his pieces brought a feeling of peace and wonder of nature and creation.
Wow.
It's more than just a painting on a wall. It's an escape from everyday life.
So we've talked about the feeling of being there. You're actually experiencing the Australian wilderness. But how does McKane actually do that?
Yeah. It's not just about pretty scenery.
Right. It's the process too, right? Like what's he actually doing with his painting?
Exactly. And this is where his technique gets really interesting.
Okay. Tell me more.
He talks about painting en plein air, which basically means painting outside. But then he mixes that with these techniques that, like, Renaissance masters use.
Oh, interesting.
It's a super unique combination.
So, okay, I have to admit, when I first heard en plein air, I was picturing, a painter in a beret with a baguette.
Right, right.
But this is so much more than that.
Yeah.
So what's the connection to those classical techniques? Why is that important?
Well, it goes back to distilled time. Remember, we were talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
And if you think about the incredible detail in those Renaissance paintings, those artists would spend months, even years, on a single piece.
Wow.
Building up layer after layer of paint to get that depth and that luminosity.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So McKane is doing something similar.
Wow. That's incredible. And it really emphasizes the time it takes. He mentions on his website, he can spend up to 40 hours on one painting.
Wow.
40 hours. That's like, a full work week for most people.
Right.
It really shows dedication.
Absolutely. And speaking of distilled time, you can actually watch the process. On his website, he has this time-lapse video.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Where he starts a rainforest painting.
It's amazing.
It's like you're watching these layers just appear.
Yeah, it's really cool to see how he starts, those first few strokes. And then as he goes, layer by layer, the details just pop out. You can practically feel the rainforest around you.
Yeah, and I think that layering directly connects back to his art being summative, as he calls it. Summative experience, summative time, summative environment.
It's like he's not just painting what he sees, right? He's painting the experience of seeing it.
Yeah, exactly. And he even talks about how one time he was painting and he encountered a freshwater lobster.
Oh, wow.
He wasn't planning on including it in the painting, but the surprise of seeing it kind of found its way into the final piece.
Oh, that's so cool. So even those little unexpected moments, they become part of the art.
Exactly. It just goes to show, he's not just painting a picture.
Right.
He's capturing a feeling, an experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes his work so immersive, and almost spiritual. It's not just what you see, it's what you feel.
So we talked about McKane distilling these experiences, but what does that actually, feel like for the person looking at it, the person who actually owns the painting?
I think that's an interesting choice of words, that you used own, because it becomes more than just the thing you own.
Right.
You're bringing a piece of that environment into your home.
Totally, yeah. Like you're not just looking at a picture.
Right, exactly.
You're tapping into like this whole hidden world.
Mm.
And he actually says on his website, these artworks are an investment in your visual peace and pleasure.
It's true. And he even challenges people, like what emotions do you want to experience in your home?
That's a good question. What kind of atmosphere do you want to create?
Exactly.
Because his art really does offer that,
It does, like a visual sanctuary.
Yeah.
A mini vacation.
A mini vacation, exactly. And it makes you wonder if there are things we can learn, even beyond the canvas.
Oh, absolutely.
Like just from his process.
Mm-hmm.
This idea of slowing down, paying attention, finding those distilled moments in your own life.
Well, he talks about how even painting something as seemingly simple as water takes years of learning and thinking and observing.
Right.
It's a good reminder for all of us, I think, that anything you want to be good at takes time.
Dedication.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe that's what we can take away from McKane's distilled art, that it's not just about the end result. It's about really appreciating the beauty around us.
It is. It's about the journey.
And realizing that even ordinary moments can be extraordinary.
Beautifully said. A philosophy we can all get behind.
Absolutely. Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive into the world of Russell McKane.
I think that's a good place to leave it.
If you're feeling inspired, and I know I am, head over to his online gallery, check out his work, and maybe even discover a distilled moment or two of your own.
I love that.
Until next time.